What's up, wildlings? Colin here, the Wild CEO. Real short video, very specific topic. Real fasting versus fake fasting. I don't remember where I heard this, but then when I thought about the idea, it makes sense. Now, this idea that if you're doing a 16-night fasting, for example, your 8-hour window, if you look at some of the gurus that talk about this, they talk about how you can kind of eat whatever you want during the 8-hour window, and I don't agree with that. I think that leads to a lot of snacking, and the whole point of fasting and intermittent fasting is to eat food and then let your body and your hormones and things come down and then stabilize blood sugar, move into ketosis, get into places closer to a fat-burning state, and from a hormonal state for recycling old cells and things like that. You should do that all the time. Whether you're doing a 16-8, a 24-4, 1 meal a day, whatever, you don't want to snack. You want to do real fasting. And I kind of like calling it that, like capital R, real fasting, which is you eat a meal and then you don't eat. And then when you're going to eat again, you eat a meal. And let's say you're doing 2 meals within that 8-hour window. If you were following a 16-8, you would then eat 2 meals, and that's it. You wouldn't snack. You just wouldn't snack, really. It's what it comes down to. You wouldn't eat small, frequent meals. You would try to only consume calories during mealtime, which is the most ancestrally appropriate thing for humans because it's based on what our ancestors did living in the wild. Now, of course, our ancestors were also foragers, so they would have had food that they found in the forest they would eat here and there, but that would only been at certain times. It would have been very low calories. It would have also been real food that's full of fiber and less sugar and less calories than a lot of this processed refined crap that you find today, even in the produce section, right? A lot of this hybridized fruits and vegetables and things like that. It was different food then. It was also only at certain times of the day. And there's actually some research to the point that women would have done more of this because they did a lot of the foraging, and all the observed hunter-gatherer groups we found, women are almost always responsible for the food prep and for a lot of the foraging. They would go out and get nuts and seeds and berries and tubers and anything they could find, usually for 3 to 6 hours a day, then come back, do a lot of the food prep, maintaining the camp, things like that. Whereas men would typically go out, hunt, walk around throughout the day, obviously scavenge, find any of the calorie-dense meat-based foods that our ancestors craved, and then they would come back, bring it to the women who would then prepare it, and then everyone would eat. And so men do what I found better with longer fasting windows, bigger 1 to 2 meals per day, or even 1 big meal a day, whereas women, when they are doing it in, like let's say a 16-8, do a little bit better with spreading their meals out a little bit within that 8-hour period, or even just doing a little bit shorter period, like a 12-hour fast instead of a 16, and then having something closer to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, these are things you all have to test yourself, and there's a lot of variability here. Your body can also adapt to a lot of things. I still think that the 16-8 with a first meal breaking the fast and then a second smaller meal later in the day is just the best way to go for most people. Of course, you want to try this for yourself, but even if you are doing that, and even if you're female and you find that you do a little bit better with a little bit more smaller meals spaced out, I would still keep it to about 3 meals max, because then beyond that, you're just in a constant hormonal roller coaster. Every time you eat, you're spiking every time, and it goes up and then comes down. Like, that's not what you want to be in. Not only does that disrupt your appetite because the hormones are going all out of whack, it is more likely to increase insulin resistance, making your insulin less effective. It doesn't give your body the natural ebb and flow where you would eat something and then you would come down. Now, of course, we're talking about dose here. Eating a little bit here and there, a lot of times can mimic a lot of the same effects of fasting. So there's some variables here. It's not just black or white. I have found, though, and from clients and friends and family, myself, and everyone I've observed doing this, that we do better, and especially I do better, when you are as far away from snacking as possible. It's just one of those first principles. I just feel like you do better. So I hope you found that video useful. It's a very specific, important topic. Don't fake fast. Do a real fast. And so if you do intermittent fasting and you're doing a 16-8, aim for figuring out what your meals are in that window and just stick to that. Avoid snacking, especially habitually, which is what a lot of us fall into, and especially with all the processed junk food that we tend to go towards snacking. That can be a real hole for people, especially if you have weight loss goals. If you're doing nuts and seeds, for example, add a little bit of salt in there, maybe there's some flavor, maybe they're like the wasabi almonds or something. It's just very easy to consume those. And the idea that, almonds are good, well, not in that kind of quantity, not in that kind of frequency. Not to mention the hormonal aspect of frequently eating, which we talked about. That's not really ancestrally appropriate. It's going to be very counterintuitive to weight loss and fat loss. Avoid it, right? So make sure you like and subscribe. Drop some comments below if you have any questions on this, or if you think there's anything I missed out, or there's any videos you want me to cover. I'm open book, right? Love to talk about it, okay? See you next time.